Hi everyone, Common Sense right here, and listen, don't get the wrong impression that my room is a just total slob. Don't get the impression that I got Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards on my wall. I'm trying to look like a weenie and a degenerate, just like most of you watching. I'm trying to be, trying to look similar to everyone else watching. I'm trying to be relatable. All right, so just don't get the wrong idea. First off. And secondly, let's talk a little bit about the topic today, the 14th Amendment. Who loves the 14th Amendment and where it stands right now? Not a single hand went up. Okay. The 14th Amendment is a little bit controversial. And inciting some of that controversy is, of course, birthright citizenship. Where do we draw the line? So, historically, it's meant if you're born in the USA, you're a U.S. citizen. But it seems like we've had a lot of problems with that, where it just seems any illegal can just come zoom into the USA practically at 8 months and stay here for however long it takes for them to, finish and being able to birth their kid. Their kid instantly has birthright citizenship. I do not think that ought to be the case. I don't. Anyways, the topic of today, of course, the 14th Amendment. On December the 5th, 2025, the U.S. Supreme Court agreed to review the lawfulness of President Donald Trump's executive order limiting birthright citizenship, with the appeal coming from New Hampshire. All right. Seeking to restore what it calls the clause's original meaning, Solicitor General D. John Sauer argues the 14th Amendment, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, was adopted for freed slaves and their children, not children of illegal or temporary residents, which I agree. Landmark precedents such as United States versus Wong Kim are called, while 4 federal courts and 2 appellate courts have blocked the administration's order. The 9 will hear argues in the spring, and a decision could come by July, potentially overturning more than 125 years of birthright citizenship precedent. So, if the courts rule in favor of Trump's order, instant shakeup. U.S.-born kids whose parents came in illegally or temporary visas, they're no longer going to be U.S. citizens. And I like that. That might be a little bit of a controversial take, but I don't think necessarily you just being born in the USA makes you a U.S. citizen. Doesn't even really make a whole lot of sense. And I really don't think it's necessarily what they had in mind when the 14th Amendment was actually created. All right. So ultimately, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. Let's think about it a little deeper. Since when did being born in a hospital bed on U.S. soil magically make me a full-blown citizen? That's like saying if I visit Paris for one night and I have to sleep in a hotel, I'm automatically French for life, right? The old rule assumed that if you're born here, congrats. You get all the perks, citizenship, rights, benefits, no questions asked. Parents, legal status, who cares? Welcome on in, everybody. But in 2025, with rampant illegal immigration, visa overstays, and we have people gaming the system, the old loophole has become a magnet for what critics call birth tourism and chain migration. And it's not about babies, it's about the back door being open into permanent status for parents. And I would argue that's not citizenship, that's entitlement, right? We have, as the loophole stands right now, I think it's far too easy for just anyone to come into America and become birthright citizens. I don't think it's right. I think it's unfair for Americans. I think it's unfair for people waiting patiently to come to the, into the U.S. and become, Americans. I think it takes a lot more than just being born on our soil to make us Americans. 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause says, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. But here's the problem. The phrase subject to the jurisdiction thereof is the key point here. It doesn't say eligible eligible parents or citizen parents, it says you have to be subject to the U.S. jurisdiction. That implies full unconditional allegiance and subjection to U.S. laws, not temporary visiting or illegal present avoiding detection and deportation. Back when the amendment was written after the Civil War, all right, that's when it was written, this clause was meant to guarantee citizenship to former slaves and their descendants. That group was definitely subject to the U.S. jurisdiction under its laws. The clause wasn't drafted to give citizenship to every tourist or visa overstayer who sneaks in and gives birth. So when parents aren't here legally and they're only here temporary, how can the child really be subject to U.S. jurisdiction in the same sense that the framers meant, right? That's the question, right? And we can see, examples of this, like with the tourist visas, passport overstays, chain migration, welfare tax burdens, anchor babies, right? It goes on. So if Trump's order is upheld, we potentially end the incentive for illegal immigration and birth tourism. Citizenship becomes meaningful again, not just a free bypass. Government service, welfare, public school burdens, long-term taxpayer strains go down because of, illegals. It reasserts national sovereignty and the value of citizenship, not a birthright for anyone who steps across the border, right? Let's be honest here. If they reject it, citizenship stays watered down, the loophole stays open, and we'll continue seeing people treat the U.S. as a baby-making resort with all the financial and societal costs attached. But of course, if the loophole stays open, then we'll continue to see a fleece of migration coming over here, anchoring babies, cheating their way into the system, loopholes, exploiting the system. It definitely needs reformed, if nothing else, but I would like to just outright end birthright citizenship. I don't think that's how it should be done. So I think this is a really important issue that I don't think a whole lot of people are really thinking as much about. I mean, there's other things going on, obviously, but I do think this is a somewhat main priority. I think this is something that should be taken pretty seriously. We got the border pretty secure, right? We're ICE is detaining, getting rid of illegal aliens. Now I think we should fix the loophole in some of the silly stuff that's going on within, the 14th Amendment. I think that should be the next step, and obviously Trump does as well. And I hope to see it upheld and it to go back to how it was formerly. All right. So I think being American isn't just about geography, right? It's about allegiance, responsibility. We have shared values. Automatically granting citizenship to every baby born, regardless of parent status, cheapens it to be American, right? It turns citizenship into a birth ticket instead of a commitment. If you believe America should be a nation of citizens, people who choose it, commit to it, who follow our laws, then you should want birthright citizenship to mean something. This legal fight isn't just about immigration. It's about whether we want America to remain a sovereign nation with real citizenship, or turn it into a place where geography and loopholes define nationality. All right, I'm betting on sovereignty, not loopholes. All right, everyone. With that said, drop a like button, hit subscribe, share this with a friend. Let me know what you guys think about birthright citizenship. Let me know what you guys think about the topic. Of course, share this video with a friend, like and subscribe for more common sense commentary. Okay, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Immigration, I feel, is sometimes a very worrisome thing to talk about among people these days, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think it means a lot more than just being born on our soil to be a U.S. citizen. I think the 14th Amendment definitely needs to revert. Immigrants need to leave, illegal immigrants, need to leave the country. What do you guys think? God bless you all. God bless America. Jesus Christ is King. Bye-bye.